In today's video, I'm going to show you the 7-part framework behind the most high conversion webinars, ads, YouTube videos, challenges, and live events on the internet. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. You'll start noticing it everywhere. Tony Robbins uses it. Alex Hermosi uses it. Dean Graziosi uses it. Grant Cardone uses this framework. Even the best TikToks and YouTube shorts follow this exact psychological structure. Now here's the important thing. It's not some manipulation tactic. This is simply how human beings process belief change, because in the end, every sale is really just a belief transformation. Someone starts your content believing one thing, and they leave believing something completely different. That transformation is the sale. Not the checkout page, not the webinar, not the CTA, the belief change. And if you master these 7 steps, you'll be able to sell virtually anything ethically because you'll understand how to move people through a story. Now, the first step is probably the most important because if you don't nail this, you won't have anyone listening to the rest of your message. Step 1 is the pattern interrupt. This is where you will be breaking their certainty. Not by teaching, not by pitching, but by destabilizing how someone sees their problem. Because people don't change when they become certain, they change when they become open. That's why great marketers don't start by explaining, they start by interrupting. This could be a contrarian statement, a shocking truth, a curiosity hook, a reframe, or something emotionally unexpected. The goal is simple. You want to shift your audience from, I already understand my problem, to, maybe I've been thinking about this wrong the whole time. That shift is everything. Let's take weight loss, for example. Most people assume if I wanted weight loss, I need to diet harder. But what if I opened with, the reason people don't lose weight actually has nothing to do with dieting? Immediately, their brain says, wait, what? And now they're listening, not because you sold them, but because you disrupted their certainty. And the reason this matters so much is because you cannot help someone who has already made up their mind. If someone believes with full certainty that they already understand their problem and the best solution, they will stop listening. So your first job is not persuasion, it's actually openness. Now here's the danger. If all you do is break their certainty, you create confusion, which is why the problem reframe is step number 2. This is where we redefine the root cause of the problem and explain why their past attempts didn't work. And it starts to create some emotional alignment because now the audience starts to think, okay, this person actually gets me. Going back to the weight loss example, you've probably tried dieting maybe many times in the past, and it may have worked for a short period of time, but eventually you fell off. Now, almost everybody can relate to that. At least I know that I can. And that's important because relatability builds trust. Then you deepen it. Maybe it was inconvenient. Maybe it was expensive. Maybe it completely destroyed your lifestyle. Once someone feels understood and seen, the barriers start to break down. And this doesn't just apply to fitness and weight loss, it applies to everything. You tried paid ads before and they didn't work. You hired agencies before and you got burned. You've tried content before, but you couldn't stay consistent. This is a universal experience, and we're reframing their problem while we're simultaneously validating their frustration. And this is important. We are not blaming the audience. We're blaming the old model. And that's a huge distinction because once someone thinks, maybe I'm not the problem, maybe the approach was the problem, now they become emotionally available for a new solution. Which takes us to step number 3, the new opportunity. Now we start rebuilding hope. We broke down the old belief, and now we have to introduce that another possibility exists. Not the full mechanism yet, just the possibility. This is where phrases become powerful, like, what if I told you? There's another way to. You don't have to blank anymore. Anymore is a very powerful word in storytelling because it implies maybe at one point this worked, but then something changed. That's why so many successful marketers use language like, you don't need to spend hours making content anymore. You don't need massive teams anymore. And you don't need complicated funnels anymore. Because now the audience is leaning forward. Hope has returned. Your audience needs this hope because without it, they won't take action. So this step is about emotional momentum. Now they're asking, okay, what is this new way that works? Which brings us to step number 4, the mechanism reveal. This is the centerpiece of the entire presentation. It's where you get to introduce the new belief system, the framework, the method, the vehicle, whatever your thing is. And here's what most people get wrong. The mechanism needs to be ownable. It has to feel like a real thing. You'll probably recognize that your favorite creators have a system that they named and own. Tony Robbins has 7 steps to business mastery. Alex Hermosi has the closer framework. And for me and my team, we have the event to call framework because packaged ideas feel more valuable than just random scattered information. People don't buy scattered tactics, they buy systems. Think about Walmart shelves. All of the products are packaged clearly, And your system should be the exact same way. Not random advice, a complete path. Psychologically, what's happening here is we are creating that certainty that we had broken down about the old beliefs. Your audience starts thinking, okay, this is different than what I've tried in the past. Now, keep in mind, you can't rush this process. This is why webinars outperform just one-off sales pitches and why YouTube performs better from a sales perspective than TikTok videos, because emotional buy-in takes time. Think about a roller coaster. The roller coaster went straight up and straight down. It might be fun for about 10 seconds, but there's no emotional attachment. The journey matters, which is why long form storytelling is so powerful. Now, once you reveal this new mechanism, your audience will begin to be skeptical, and that's completely normal, which leads us to step number 5, which is proof and validation. Because the moment you introduce a new belief, people start asking, why should I believe you? And honestly, that's fair. So this is where the proof enters. Case studies, screenshots, client stories, before and afters, demonstrations, demos, and process proof. Anything that helps them actually see that this really works. Now, this is important. Your proof needs to feel familiar or relatable to them, because if someone can see themselves in the proof, the conversion rate skyrockets. Normally, people will find any excuse to believe that a new process that they haven't experienced in the past, will not work for them. It's why you see before and afters work so well in fitness. People see the before and think, that's me. Or in some cases, they're in a worse position than I am right now. If they can do it, I can do it. Then they emotionally attach themselves to the transformation, and the audience starts becoming the hero of the story, not you. You are the guide, they are the hero. Your proof simply helps them believe that the transformation is possible for them. Now, at this point, too many marketers get lazy. And the 6th step is where a massive amount of sales are either won or lost. Identity commitment. Before you ask for the sale, your audience needs to already have made an internal commitment. This is where we get micro agreements, simple yes or no based questions. Do you want to lose weight? Do you want more freedom? Do you want your business to grow? Do you want more consistency? Because every yes builds psychological momentum. This is also where we can start to handle the objections. We've made this affordable. We've simplified the process. You don't need experience. You don't need a huge audience. And we shift to consequence framing. What happens if nothing changes? What happens if your competitors adapt first? What happens if 6 months from now you stay in the same position? We're not trying to pressure them, but we are trying to give them some perspective. We are preparing them psychologically to take action. Because if you wait until the offer to start handling objections, you're already too late. Finally, we end at step number 7, offer ascension. This is where most people think the pitch starts. But honestly, if you've done the first 6 steps correctly, this shouldn't feel like a pitch at all. It should feel like the natural next step. And that word is key, natural. The audience has already emotionally bought in to the transformation, and now they just need a vehicle for the journey. This is where we explain the offer, the support, the process, the outcome, the value stack, the CTA. Now, value stacking is incredibly important because humans naturally just want more for their money. So this is where you stack bonuses, support, templates, coaching, implementation, guarantees, or some other form of additional value. But here's something a lot of people just kind of leave to the side. You need a reason why. It's not smart to just be crazy by how much you give away for no reason. Maybe it is to encourage the action takers, or we only want strong case studies, or we have limited capacity, or we want to fill our client roster quicker. The process is important. The reason why you're doing all these bonuses and the value stacking doesn't matter as much. Now, here's the truth. If someone says no after all of these 7 steps, it's usually one of 2 things. You're either talking to the wrong person or they still don't fully believe you yet. And that second one usually comes from a weak step in this process. Maybe the problem reorientation didn't land. Maybe the mechanism wasn't clear enough. Maybe the proof wasn't relatable or strong enough. Or maybe the audience couldn't emotionally see themselves in the transformation. Because these 7 steps work together. You can't just skip one. 5 out of 7 does not work. The magic happens when they're all in alignment. And once you understand this, you start to see it everywhere. The webinars, ads, TikToks, YouTube videos, sales calls, landing pages. Best marketers in the world are leading people through emotional belief transformation because that's really what selling is. Now, if you want help building this entire process within your business, that's exactly what my team and I do. We help coaches and businesses build successful events through this 7-step framework. We script the event, we structure the story, we handle the pre-event and the event itself, and even the post-event follow-up. So if you want help implementing this for your business, there's a link in the description. You'll have the chance to book a call with me, and we will spend time directly breaking down your offer, your story, and how we can help you lead your clients through this emotional transformation. And if it makes sense to move forward, we'll take that step from there. Thanks for watching. If you want to know about how to run webinars, you can watch that video here and subscribe to the channel so you can see more videos on how to sell ethically through virtual events. See you next time.